Some moments don't knock before entering your life. They don't ask if you're ready. They don't wait for the right time. They simply arrive, quietly, unexpectedly, and by the time you realize what's happening, everything you thought you knew has already begun to change. For Aaron Blake, that moment arrived on an ordinary weekday afternoon, inside a glass-walled corporate office where emotions were supposed to stay hidden, controlled, and unspoken. It was the kind of place where personal lives were left at the door, where weakness was mistaken for incompetence, and where success demanded silence more than honesty. Aaron never imagined that a single glance through an open office door would reshape his understanding of strength, leadership, and humanity forever. Aaron was 35 years old, though most days he felt much older. Grief has a way of adding years to a person without asking permission. 6 months earlier, his life had split cleanly in two, before and after. Before, there was laughter in the evenings, shared meals, whispered plans about the future. After, there was silence, a silence so heavy it followed him everywhere, even into crowded rooms. His wife, Emily, had died suddenly. One day she was there smiling, tired but happy as she cradled their newborn son. The next, she was gone. No dramatic goodbyes, no time to prepare, just absence. And in that absence, Aaron became everything. He became the provider, the caregiver, the comforter, the protector. He learned how to hold a baby with one arm while answering emails with the other. He learned the difference between hungry cries and tired cries. He learned how to function on 2 hours of sleep and still show up to work wearing a pressed shirt and a forced smile. Their son, Noah, was 6 months old now. He had Emily's eyes. Every time Aaron looked into them, his chest tightened with love and pain tangled together so tightly he couldn't separate them. Each morning began the same way. The alarm rang before sunrise. Aaron sat up slowly, his body already aching, his mind already exhausted. He warmed bottles, changed diapers, rocked Noah until the crying softened into sleepy breaths. Then he dressed himself, standing in front of the mirror just long enough to make sure he looked acceptable, presentable, normal. No one at work knew the full story. They knew he was a widower. They didn't know how lonely his apartment felt at night. They didn't see him sitting on the edge of the bed after Noah fell asleep, staring at the empty space beside him, replaying memories he both cherished and hated. Work was supposed to be the stable part of his life. Predictable, structured, controlled. He worked at Monroe & Co., a financial firm known for its discipline and results. It was a place where deadlines mattered more than excuses, where emotions were considered distractions, and where leadership was defined by efficiency, not empathy. At the center of it all was his boss, Rebecca Monroe. Rebecca was 38 years old, sharp, composed, and intimidating in the quietest way. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her presence alone commanded attention. She dressed impeccably, spoke precisely, and ran the company with a level of discipline that made even senior executives careful with their words. To most employees, she was untouchable, a symbol of authority and success. Someone you admired from a distance but never truly knew. To Aaron, she was simply the person whose approval kept his life from falling apart financially. That afternoon started badly. The babysitter canceled at the last minute. Aaron stared at his phone, reading the message again and again as Noah fussed in his arms. He had meetings scheduled, reports due. There was no one else he could call. For a moment, he considered taking the day off. Then he thought about rent, medical bills, and the quiet fear that followed him everywhere since Emily's death. He made a decision he never thought he would make. He brought Noah to work. At first, things went smoothly. Aaron kept his son close, fed him in quiet corners, changed him discreetly in the restroom. Most co-workers pretended not to notice. A few smiled politely. No one said anything, but babies don't follow schedules. Noah grew restless as the afternoon stretched on. His cries grew louder, more insistent. Aaron paced the hallway, gently bouncing him, whispering reassurances that were meant as much for himself as for his son. "It's okay," he murmured. "I've got you." He checked the bottle again. Noah turned his face away, crying harder. Hunger had its own rules, and none of them cared about office etiquette. That's when Aaron remembered. He had a meeting with Rebecca Monroe, in her office, in 5 minutes. His stomach dropped. Fear tightened his chest. He looked down at Noah, who was red-faced and wailing now, small fists clenched as if the world itself had betrayed him. Aaron felt the familiar wave of panic rise. He couldn't leave Noah alone. He couldn't cancel the meeting. He couldn't walk in like this. He stood outside Rebecca's office door, bottle in hand, heart pounding so loudly he was sure someone could hear it. The glass walls revealed her desk inside, neat, orderly, untouched by chaos. This is where it ends, he thought. This is where I lose everything. He didn't knock. He pushed the door open, and time stopped. Rebecca Monroe was sitting in her chair, her blazer slightly open, her posture relaxed in a way Aaron had never seen before. And in her arms was Noah, not crying, not restless, peaceful, feeding. Aaron's mind refused to process what his eyes were seeing. His body froze, as if movement itself might shatter the moment. The bottle slipped in his hand, nearly falling to the floor. Rebecca looked up. Their eyes met. There was no anger in her expression, no shock, no accusation, just calm. "He was hungry," she said softly, as if explaining something obvious. Aaron's mouth opened, but no words came out. 1,000 thoughts collided inside his head. Fear, confusion, shame, gratitude, panic. I'm sorry," he finally managed, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't know what to do." Rebecca adjusted Noah gently, her movements careful and practiced. "You did what any good father would do," she replied. That sentence hit Aaron harder than anything else that day. No reprimand, no lecture, no reminder of company policy, just understanding. His knees felt weak. He leaned against the door frame, suddenly aware of how tired he truly was. Not just physically, emotionally, spiritually. Tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. Rebecca watched him quietly for a moment. "I noticed him crying," she said. "You were in the hallway, trying to calm him. The bottle wasn't working." Aaron nodded, swallowing hard. He wouldn't take it. "He missed his mother," Rebecca said gently. The words cut deep, but there was no cruelty in them. Only truth. Aaron looked at his son, now calm and safe, unaware of the emotional earthquake happening around him. "I thought I was doing everything wrong," Aaron admitted. "Every day. I'm trying, but it never feels like enough." Rebecca's gaze softened in a way he had never seen before. "I was a single mother once," she said quietly. Aaron looked up, stunned. That wasn't information anyone at the company shared. It wasn't something that fit the image of Rebecca Monroe. "I don't talk about it," she continued, "because I learned early on that struggling parents are seen as liabilities. So I learned to hide it, to be perfect, to never need help." Her voice didn't shake, but there was something beneath it. Old memories, old pain. "When I saw you," she said, I didn't see an employee breaking rules. I saw someone drowning and pretending they were fine. Something inside Aaron broke open. For months, he had carried his grief alone, convinced that asking for help was the same as admitting failure. And here, in the place he least expected it, someone saw him. Truly saw him. "I didn't want him to suffer because you were afraid," Rebecca said, glancing down at Noah. Aaron felt tears sting his eyes. He looked away quickly, embarrassed, but Rebecca didn't seem to mind. For the first time since Emily's death, Aaron felt like he could breathe. They sat in silence for a moment, the office around them strangely quiet. The hum of computers, the distant murmur of voices outside the glass walls, it all faded into the background. Noah slept peacefully. That afternoon changed more than just a single moment. Rebecca arranged flexible hours for parents, a private room for caregivers, policies that didn't just exist on paper but actually protected people. She didn't announce it with a speech. She didn't make it about herself, she simply acted. Word spread quietly. People noticed. The culture began to shift, slowly, subtly, but undeniably. As for Aaron, something inside him transformed. He stopped apologizing for being human. He stopped seeing his grief as weakness. He worked harder than ever, not out of fear, but out of gratitude and loyalty. He became more confident, more focused, more present. Years later, Aaron would tell his son about that day, not as a story of embarrassment, but as a story of kindness, a story about how leadership isn't about power or authority, but about compassion. Because sometimes the moments that change us forever arrive quietly, and sometimes the smallest acts of humanity can save 2 lives at once.